Hey guys, Mouse here, and today I was able to reach 31k attack on my JINWOO. Here's the stats that I have right now. Precision is at 83% even without the perception stats. We have crit rate 45%, crit damage 163%. We need a bit more here, probably additional 1500 here. Death penetration is low. We have quite a decent amount of damage increase. So in this video, I'm going to share you how I was able to reach this, and we're gonna test this out as well and compare it with my 4-piece expert set and see at which point will the expert set be able to reach the damage output of the curse set at full stacks. Okay, so just to kind of show you how I was able to reach this, let me just give you a quick tour on my character. So let me just show you my gem setup right now. So my red gems are now mostly attack percent, except this one, and all of these are attack percent. And I already have 2 rank 4 attack gems here. And for my yellow gems, most of these are on precision. As for the overall stats here, you can check it out here. And for the artifacts, the headgears like this have 2 HP still. This is where I got most of my crit rate. And here's my armor with the attack percent and additional death penetration. And for the gloves, this is what I'm using. As you can see, still far from perfect. Lots of errors here. 2 errors, like 1, 2 mistakes there, and this one 1, 2, 3 errors there. So my artifact is really far from being perfect. So this one is quite decent, but some of the points went to HP. But I think this one's already very nice because we have attack percent and raw attack here as well. For my accessories, 1 mistake here, attack and damage increase and attack. And this one is light damage still, but again, elemental damage only works on elemental weakness, so it's totally fine most of the times. And my ring is attack percent damage increase. Kinda risky play there just to be able to get this. For my accessories, yes, still 1 error, attack and attack percent plus critical hit damage. So it's important to take note that I don't really prioritize getting crit damage there. In case you haven't watched my full JINWOO build yet, feel free to do so. It's on my channel so that you would understand how this thing works. But basically, if you have too much of this, it's gonna be a steeper climb to get into the 200% mark. And the damage output of critical hit damage percent is gonna be much lower as well as you get more and more and stack more of it due to the diminishing return. Yeah, so the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna test this on Vulcan Hard. We're gonna have to readjust the stats because we're gonna have to get 99% precision. So we're at 99% right now, and we'll put everything on attack here. And we are now at 29.7k attack here. So I think that's fine because what we're gonna do is really to test this one in relation and compare it to the expert set that I currently have. So let's check it out and see the 0 stacks as well as the full stacks damage. This is the lineup that we're gonna use. We don't have anything here that might affect the damage output. Emma doesn't have that, Libra doesn't have that, and Alicia doesn't have that, I believe. So let's check it out. This is at 4 stacks, 102 non-crit, 102k. Still consistent. 305, 113. So this is somewhere around close to 0 stacks. Well, actually, let's try this at 50 stacks and see how this one works. 326, 181. Ooh, that's... The additional damage is quite low, to be honest. So let's just check the 100 mark. So at least we have a basis on what happened at the 50 stacks mark of the curse set. Okay, 116023. There might be other stuff that's going on here. 345970. So I think that's gonna be enough for this one. So just for reference, here are the details that we got. We listed the full stats here, and these are the damage that we got from the test earlier. So now let's try to change our setup to 4-piece expert set. Just a disclaimer, guys, we're gonna try to make it as fair as possible, but nothing's gonna be fair here because all of these are random artifact stats. Okay, so again, you have to understand that this test is only and specifically only to my character. Other characters might show a different result, so please keep that in mind. Okay, so this is what we got now. Here we go. There you go. There you go. So let's just try to compare it. So for the stats, we have 26.1k attack. Crit damage is a bit higher, but I think that's okay. Death penetration is a bit close and damage increase is a bit low. So this is the closest that I could get it to with the items that I currently have. So what we're gonna do now is to check the damage first at 0 stacks again. 75,683. So a big difference already, noticeable already. 237016 crit. So right now we are at 20 expert stacks and close to 50 per stacks. So I'm gonna try this and see if I need to. Oops, 104,127. Interesting. This one's the damage at 0 stacks of the full 8-piece curse set. Right, so we're gonna try that again and try to get 20 expert stacks again along with the 50 curse stacks and check the crit damage. Again guys, I don't know whether the shield damage reduction affects the effectiveness of the curse damage increase, because monsters might have like damage reduction that could affect the damage. So I'm not sure about that. I just know that they have. Okay, 327225. So we're gonna try 20 expert with 100 stacks curse. 108,541. Wow. Why is the damage so low? Okay, this one's a good chance. 338,731. Oh, that's gonna be with 100 curse and 20 expert. Let's try this again and see what's the damage gonna be at 30 expert stacks. 121,129 non-crit. 121. Wow. 379,071. Okay, so let's try to increase the expert stacks to 40. 134651. 418936. Wow. Okay, we're almost at 50 stacks. 46111 147206. So let's take a look at the results that we got from that quick test. At 0 stacks, we got 102k non-crit and 305k crit from the 8-piece expert set. And from the 4-piece curse and 4-piece expert, so we got 75k and 237k. So it's much lower. And that's kind of expected because the stats are much lower compared to this one. We got 326k crit from the 8-piece curse set, and we got 327k crit from the 2-piece curse set with 50 stacks and 20 expert stacks. So at this point, they are already pretty much equal, but we have to take into consideration the crit damage percentage here is much higher, and we don't have data on the non-crit of the 8-piece curse. So just take note of that. But we got a non-crit damage here, which is at 104k, 50 stacks of curse and 20 stacks of expert, which is about the same as the 0 stacks of the 8-piece curse set. Yeah, I think the 2-piece curse with 50 stacks plus 20 expert stacks is pretty much equal to the 8-piece curse with higher stats at 0 stacks. The next one is at 100 stacks with 20 expert set is still a bit lower than the 100 stacks of curse set. So even the non-crit is the same here, 116k and 108k. But at 30 stacks of expert set, we already saw that it is already much higher than the 100 stacks of the curse set here. 379k and 121k non-crit, and this one is 345k, and this one is 116k non-crit. So both non-crit and crit are pretty consistent there. At 40 stacks, it's gonna go higher and higher. So the maximum damage that we got from the 100 stacks of curse set is just around 345k, in which probably at 25 stacks, probably the expert set 4-piece will already overtake this. The thing here is that the 25 stacks of expert, like for JINWOO, is very easy to get. But the thing is, it was much weaker during the first minute, so afterwards, it's gonna have to reverse that weak points. So I'm not sure how to do this, and I'm not interested anymore in really doing the math here because that's not my area of expertise. But I think this one is already enough for me to know that in my case, in this particular case, for the specific gears that we used, I think expert set's gonna win in longer fights. Alright, so I added the percentage here, and we tried to compare the point where they have similar stacks. So at the beginning, this one is 25% lower than the 8-piece curse set. Okay, but as soon as you reach the 20 or 25 mark, probably as you move further, you're gonna be able to actually reverse that deficit at around 50 stacks. Okay, so this one's really confusing, to be honest. So let's just take a look at just one footage of my POD, just so we can have more ideas on how we can analyze this, because I don't know how to simulate this because there's a lot of things happening in each battle. So let's try to pull up this run that I did just to have some basis here, and let's take a look at how the stacks behave here. So at 3-minute mark, this is when the dragon will fly. We have 59 stacks of curse and 18 stacks of expert. So in my character at this point, their damage is the curse set still has the advantage, but probably not that high anymore. So if I'm using the curse set, I probably should have been able to do most of my damage at this point. But that's kind of difficult because you're still gonna have to gain more power gauge for the ults, and you're gonna have to do those shadow steps early as well. So at the 3-minute mark, let's just take a look at when it's gonna be. So I was able to do my ult here at the at 2 minutes 30 seconds. This is probably already the point wherein the 4-piece expert set is gonna be much better than the 8-piece curse set. So the 8-piece curse set will probably plateau at this point. So here, so at 2 minutes 16, we have 30 stacks of expert and 100 stacks of curse set. So at this point, the expert set will already be able to get an advantage. So it's gonna start to reverse the disadvantage during the first 2 minutes. The problem though is that there's also gonna be, we already have 40 stacks here. So 40 stacks is actually already 16% flat damage, difference based on my character stats. There's a downtime here that's probably about 25 seconds downtime for the golem part, where we're not going to be able to do DPS, but we're going to gain stacks. So 1 minute 20 seconds. At this point, we probably already have around plus 20%. So let's just take a look at this. It's actually hard to simulate this. I don't know what to do, to be honest. So at this point, we already have 60 stacks of expert. So yeah, in my opinion, I think the expert set has more uptime when it's stronger than the 8-piece curse set. However, that is under the condition that you're gonna be able to burst the enemy at the last 1 minute. So your shadow steps are mostly should be able to hit at that last minute. And for the curse set, your shadow steps should be able to hit at the mostly at the beginning. And considering as well that there's not gonna be power gauge yet at the beginning and the damage are very weak yet, the stacks are not there. It's still a case-to-case basis, but in my opinion, if you're gonna be able to do, like in the ideal scenario, if you're gonna be able to do your shadow steps at the last minutes, like 1 or 2 shadow steps there, I think it's gonna be able to reverse like the advantage of the curse set by a lot during the early minutes. But that's just my opinion. I actually don't know how to simulate this. You guys help me out. that's just my like my estimation based on how the stacks behave, but it's gonna be different in every case. The stacking of the attack percent, because attack percent might have a diminishing returns as well. Like say for example, you have Maylin, because Maylin provides a lot of attack percent here, and if you have your units have the dimensional upgrades, that's gonna matter as well, because then you're gonna have the attack percent here, which is not gonna be computed outside if I'm not mistaken. So that's gonna be 15% and 15% for the unit itself. And if you're using like the double-edged sword, so I don't know, I'm not sure, this is just in my character, but I'm pretty sure that in my character's case, that right now with the available resources that I have, I think expert will still have a bit more advantage, especially if I'm gonna be able to reach 60 stacks or 65 stacks towards the end, and gonna be able to do the shadow step and burst. That's why we're getting like hundreds of millions there, like 30M ult and 20M armor break decimation, things like those. But this might actually change as you gain more attack percentage that are only gonna be computed once you're inside, like the ones from the Black Lion, as well as the dimensional upgrades, dimensional advancements here. And another thing that you might want to consider is that with the expert set, you're not gonna have to get all your 8-piece to have higher stats. So for example, in my case, I can actually just do a 2-piece set and just choose from any other setup, like this one. I actually made this one for just for this, and still increase your attack by a lot. So I think that's another advantage of being able to use this, and that extra 800 or close to 1k attack is gonna be very big. So yeah, I think in my case, for my JINWOO in Power of Destruction, as well as for my Hunters, I'm still gonna use the Expert set, because I have more control over the stats that I have. But definitely, during Hunter content, then you're gonna have to use 8-piece curse set, because there's no way that you're gonna be able to get those stacks easily. 3-minute duration, you're not gonna be able to get to the point wherein the expert set is gonna be able to have an advantage, and once it arrives at that point, there's not gonna be enough time anymore to deal more damage. So in general, I think for the story mode, I think I'm still gonna go for the 8-piece curse set. The total power matters a lot, and you have to lessen the penalty. I think that's gonna be more important than this. But in the case of Vulcan normal, I think I'm gonna go for experts set still, except if the 8-piece curse set is gonna help me get out of the red zone. But if not, I'm still gonna go for this. That's a 5 minutes fight. There are a bit of downtime there, but during the time that the curse set has the advantage there, you're still gonna have to break Vulcan. So you're not gonna be able to take advantage of this yet during the first minute, because it's gonna be the shield break phase. And once you break the shield, then you're already gonna have a lot of expert stacks afterwards. So yeah, I think I'm still gonna use expert set for POD and Vulcan and other long fights, and I'm gonna use the 8-piece curse set on my hunter mode and other story related stuff. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Please do let me know in the comments if you noticed something, and if you add more to this, if you have some more analysis on the data that we have, because I'm really not sure how to be able to simulate that. Well, I can do that, but I really don't have time to be doing that. But I do hope that this video at least gave you some ideas on what to do with your artifacts.